Twins fires reminiscent of Churchill Downs, Pocono welcomes its own kind of horsepower. I said horses. Tucked into the mountains of northeast Pennsylvania, this vacation spot is less retreat, more repeat as the trucks return to Pocono. From a Pocono rookie to a recent winner, some drivers are peaking at the right time, perfect for racing in the mountains. But when you climb, you run the risk of falling fast. Who will reach the summit today? For just the second time, the Camping World Truck Series is racing at Pocono. The track is long. This race is not. It is an all-out sprint to the finish, and we are actually sprinting against Mother Nature. NASCAR in a hurry-up mode to get this race going. They're not wasting any time. Neither are we. The setup presented by Polaris is taking its mark and ready to go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the setup. I'm Krista Voda. You know, big boys not going to let this opportunity pass them by again. Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch didn't race here last year. Today, they are in the field, and they are actually on the front row. Their truck's right behind me. Also, Mark Martin making his first Truck Series start in nearly 4 years. And our points leader had a major hit today. We will talk more about Johnny Sauter coming up. But first, we head to the corral where Ray Dunlap and Hermie Sadler are standing by to tell us who or what else is going on. Ray?
Well, Krista, I actually came over to try to take a look at the radar, and this thing's a little difficult to see. We're at the NASCAR hauler, and if you take a look at this thing, it looks like a pretty big blob. But I'll tell you, I looked out of the sky just a few seconds ago, and it doesn't look too bad. So we know that there's a 35 or 40% chance of rain here throughout the region at the Pocono Raceway today. But I just checked the Futurecast, and they said we're going to be clear and we'll get this race in. Hermie?
Well, thank you, Ray. And a guy who wants to get this race in today, coming off a great run last week, Miguel Paludo, top 5 last week, decent qualifying run today. Can you keep the momentum going?
Yeah, I hope so. We have everything to do it. A good balance during practice, a good balance during qualify, and our Stinkador line to that run, I think, is pretty fast. Hope we race, the rain stays out for a little bit, at least 26 laps. And I just want to say hi to my wife. She's at home. Don't deliver the baby yet. I'll be home soon.
Another challenge for the crew chiefs, Krista. We racing to 50 laps, so we're looking for that 26 lap.
Yeah, this race is definitely going to be a sprint. You know, last week it was a little track with a race that went down to the wire. This is going to be an all-out sprint to the finish. But let's go ahead and take a look back at our last race at Indy.
And we are off and running here at Lucas Oil Raceway. Here comes the 13 of Johnny Sauter. And now he's cleared the 3 of Austin Dillon. And around goes a truck. It looks like Timothy Peters in the 17.
These guys right now know they're racing from maybe a very short distance. If that rain comes,
you watch that 31 truck just keep pushing up the track, pushing up the track. There he goes. He guns it in the center of the corner, makes the pass.
Big story on the racetrack.
Johnny Sauter has cut a right front tire down. He came on the radio to tell Joe Shear, I have to pit. Shear said, ride it out as many laps as possible. The rain may be here.
Now, strategy-wise, James Buescher may be able to go all the way on fuel, so he might not have to stop.
Timothy Peters spinning out there may have been a huge advantage for him. Right now, he's marching his way back towards the front, and we know he has a little bit of a cushion on fuel.
Timothy Peters takes third away.
I think he may have enough time to catch James Buescher.
Racing the white truck in your mirror way back here.
Timothy Peters dives down to the bottom of turn number 4.
Buescher almost clipped him under braking, but that did not happen. And matter of fact, he's not even going to be able to catch Timothy Peters right now.
White flag. No matter what, bring it back to the checkers.
Austin Dillon is in the wall.
Austin's just trying to make his way to the finish, and Todd just acts like he isn't even there.
Checker flag right here. That's a hell of a drive.
Oh, yeah, baby! Timothy Peters goes back to victory lane in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series.
Can I burn it down? Says yes.
Well, it's always great to bring a little bit of momentum. You guys had a tough stretch for a little while, but it seems like the 17 has really turned it around. What's your expectations today?
The biggest thing is we need to capitalize on another good run. A lot of people are having bad luck this weekend, so everybody on our Crescent Hand Tools, Red Horse Racing, Tundra did a great job at Indy last week. Like you said, momentum is key, so hopefully we don't break it. We can get up there and race with the veterans that's in their field today.
Always fun to celebrate in victory lane like I did last week with this guy, but it was interesting when we watched the 3 and the 5.
Yeah, absolutely. For Peters, it was a spin to win. But yeah, you mentioned in the closing laps we saw that contact, and you saw it there in that video piece, the 5 of Todd Bodine making contact with the 3 of Austin Dillon. But there was more to that story. Here's a little bit, we dig deeper in the follow-up.
Nice and smooth now. Watch the 5. Come on, keep coming, come on. What the hell, man? What an idiot. What an idiot.
Well, like you need to see that again, Austin Dillon. We saw the last lap from LOR, not the end of the night you wanted, but after the top 10 finish. Yeah, I just saw you and Todd talking after the race last week. All that over and done with?
Yeah, it's over. Y'all made me look real good right there. There's captions on the bottom of the screen. No, I just want to thank Bass Pro Shops and Chevrolet for this good truck we have here today. We weren't really good in practice yesterday, but we've been struggling actually in practice. So qualifying was really loose. Came back with an 8th. We weren't even in the top 15, I don't think, after practice yesterday. So we'll have something for him today. We just have to keep adjusting on it. It's a quick race, but it's a long time around here, so you can change position up quick. Hopefully the rain stays away, so that doesn't make it a factor for gas and fuel mileage. I just want to be able to race a full race and have something for him at the end.
That's Austin Dillon. He is making a charge for the point lead, chasing that championship. Krista?
Yeah, Hermie, we understand why he was disappointed with a 9th place finish last week, because with the trouble Johnny Sauter had and is continuing to have, he knows that he could have left Indy with the points lead. For Johnny Sauter, the summer, well, he's definitely been feeling the heat.
Johnny Sauter moves down the racetrack before he gets to the start-finish line. They could black flag Johnny Sauter for that move.
They're going to take this win away from Johnny Sauter.
God bless America.
He just broke something when they dropped the jack. Maybe an axle.
Broken axle, guys, get ready. Anybody got circus music we can start playing? I lost us another one. Broke the gear.
Again, Johnny Sauter, your points leader coming in, but a close battle.
Nonetheless, top 5's good for where we've been the last 2 weeks.
Austin Dillon with a 2-second lead over Johnny Sauter.
Second place, good night for us, and we'll just try to build on it.
Problems on the right front of that truck.
He had the tire go down flat. I think he's rubbed the sway bar arm off the right front of the truck.
I was watching the current points as they run. If the race ended right now, Austin Dillon would be our point leader.
And if you were not with us earlier today, right here at Pocono Raceway, we were having qualifying. Johnny Sauter very hot into turn number 1, makes contact with the turn number 1 wall, and that caused enough damage to his race truck that the ThorSport Racing team will have to go to a backup. You see there the damage on the right front. The team unloads the backup, and it has been quite a bit of a scramble. Johnny Sauter right in there with the wrenches helping these guys. Johnny, I know you had a fast lap going. Did you really try to hold it wide open in turn 1?
It's actually the tunnel turn, but yeah, I was, yesterday I knew when we were 6th in practice and didn't make a qualifying run that we maybe had a shot at the pole today. So just proud of everybody in the Safe Auto Carrier, Kurt Record Chevy, Joe Shearer, all the guys on the 88 bunch come over here. Just everybody at ThorSport, what a team effort. All the guys at ECR were over here trying to put a motor in this truck and get that ready for the race. So I know they're out there scaling it right now. Hopefully we get it ready to go for the start of the race. But, just this has typically been a tough place for me. And we were really fast yesterday in practice, and it felt really good in qualifying. And this is the truck that we're actually going to race is the truck that we got black flagged to Texas with. So I have all the confidence in the world we can get where we need to be. Just want to thank everybody. You know what I mean? Driver made a mistake, and that's just the way it is. And we'll rally as a team and hopefully pull through this.
Okay, good luck to you. No question they've got a good team here, a great backup truck. We'll see how it works out this afternoon for our points leader, Johnny Sauter.
Well, no doubt, it's hard when you're sitting on top. Taking a look at our forward points, 5 races ago, Sauter had a 35-point lead over Austin Dillon. That is now down to 4. Peters and Witt, the only 2 who changed positions, swapping 4th and 5th. A lot of good battles throughout the top 10. Johnny Sauter mentioned his truck, the team. I saw him just roll by. They raced it out here. We are getting into our race, a 50-lap shootout here in Pocono. More to come. The setup is presented by Polaris, the hardest working, smoothest riding off-road vehicles, now at your local dealer. Brought to you in part by Camping World and the Good Sam RV Club. Everything you need for the RV lifestyle, including RVs, accessories, warranties, insurance, roadside assistance, and more. And in high definition by Funai. Funai, fun and innovative. Experience more at FunaiAmerica.com. It's already been a wild couple of days here in Pocono. Thursday, while the Truck Series haulers were coming into park, well, let's just say they ran out of real estate. The flag stand was the victim. Track workers have been thrashing, though, to get temporary flag stands in place. So this is new today. Scaffolding in place for today's race. Kudos to those track workers for working so hard. We have such a strong rookie class this year. Cole Witt, one of those guys. In fact, earlier this year, he was the first rookie to lead the point standings, but it was in Dover when he was dueling Kyle Busch that he began to turn heads. Let's get to know this 20-year-old from the Golden State.
I always wanted to go NASCAR just because of my family background. Everyone raced stock cars. Kind of started back in go-karts and followed that up into open wheel dirt racing and onto some asphalt, you know, with the USAC scene, and raced sprint cars and midgets and Silver Crown cars all across the country, and then kind of ended up here. I think just driving different style cars all the time has really taught me a lot and kind of made me a little bit more of a versatile driver. You know, I kind of can adapt to a lot of different environments and different driving situations, you know, so it's always been different to me, and I've never gone into something the same, and I think that's what's made me kind of be able to adapt to tracks really quick. I'm a real technical driver and get to be involved in all my racing, so you know, I really get to go into the shop and really put a lot of time in my cars and, you know, a lot of hard work into what I do. I think the truck season, you know, is going to be crazy all year long. There's just so many rookies and so many new teams, and, you know, just a lot of new added people to this series that I think that the truck season is going to be probably one of the toughest seasons they've had in a long time. Now there's so many people here. I really think this is going to be, you know, a season that a lot of these young kids are going to come out of and really have something to prove later on in their careers.
Well, Cole Witt, a good piece on you right there. We're talking walking down pit road. You've had a fast truck a lot of times this year. This weekend, you've been struggling with speed, and we talked about how difficult it is as a driver at a place like this to sometimes find where that speed is.
Yeah, I mean, like we were talking, I mean, I think we're just losing it center off all the corners, you know. I mean, that's just kind of where we've been struggling, especially one and over on the tunnel turn and turn two. It's just we've been going over the bumps and we just can't quite get it settled right. So, you know, I mean, we know we can do it. We've done it before. We've been fast. We just, you know, we've missed it a few times, and we're just trying to regroup and get back to where we need to be. I know we can do it.
And this guy, Cole Witt, he comes across as a quiet, shy guy. We watched the clip of his truck knocking the flag stand down, or his teammate's truck. He said, that's how we roll. We get the checkered flag one way or the other. Ray?
Well, how about let's hear from the pole sitter, Kevin Harvick. You had a great truck in practice, great truck in qualifying. I assume you expect the same for the race?
Well, our Always Bargain Outlet Chevrolet was really good in race trim yesterday. Really didn't know what we had for qualifying. It was pretty loose, but the guys have done a great job. The truck's really fast, and just see how it all plays out.
Such a short race here, Kevin. Is it just go for it right from the very beginning?
I think you have to with the, you know, the rain is somewhere out there, and I think just the race being short, you have to do that in general. So probably only one pit stop if it runs green, and see what happens.
Hopefully that rain's somewhere over the rainbow. Kevin Harvick will lead the field to the green. Krista?
I got nervous there, Ray, that you were going to sing. Only natural when a track is shaped like a triangle to talk about things coming in threes. It was Elliott Sadler along with Casey Kane and Denny Hamlin who were in this race last year. Sadler winning in Harvick's truck. So sticking with our theme of threes, let's go upstairs to our three. Rick Allen, Phil Parsons, and Michael Waltrip. They are ready to cover all the angles of this track.
Krista, I'm just glad that this wasn't the third race that you would squeeze us out of the setup. So we're able to talk before this race gets underway. Now, what is the key to winning at this racetrack?
Well, we just heard just now, we had two guys here that with most experience last year finished 1-2, Elliott Sadler and Casey Kane. And we have the same situation here. We have Mark Martin in the field for the first time in 4 years, as well as Kevin Harvick, our pole sitter, and Kyle Busch. Between those guys, 83 combined starts in the Cup Series here at Pocono. We talked yesterday, Michael, during the practice show, how experience really matters here because this is a very, very difficult and challenging racetrack. And those guys have the most experience.
You have to be experienced, right? What's experience mean? Patient. I got to be patient behind the wheel. Can't be patient today, Rick. It's a 50-lapper. Plus, there's rain in the area. Could you imagine winning a truck race that was 25 laps? Well, that's what these guys are faced with. They know they got to be out front when 25 laps come and hopefully be there all the way to the end because with the clouds and the skies like they look today, you never know when they're going to throw that checkered flag.
Yeah, and we have reached a lot of milestones already in this season with the Camping World Truck Series. A team is forging into new areas so far. They are reaching a milestone that no other team has reached before, and that's ThorSport Motorsports.
First-time winner on the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, Terry Cook.
Can Matt Crafton hold on to win his first ever truck race? He will. Matt Crafton wins at Lowe's. 2 team finishes. Right now it's Thorsport running 1 and 2. The fans on their feet. Johnny Sauter will win at Las Vegas.
What a great job by Johnny Sauter, that Thorsport team.
Sauter is looking for his 2nd win in the Truck Series.
Congratulations, boys. That's how you
drive a race truck. Johnny Sauter wins at Martinsville. Matt Crafton's going to see the checkered flag. Crafton will win in Iowa. Thorsport has done such a masterful job of building this team into such a great organization.
A lot of good things happening at Thorsport. They're not just building their team. They have a grand opening for their new building taking place later this month. Both of their drivers there, as you see some of the team numbers, both drivers have been to victory lane this year. Both are top 10 in points. Sauter is the points leader. Oh, there's a cake commemorating number 354. I'm just glad it's not going in someone's face, right, Hermie?
Yeah, no question, Chris. I told Matt I saw that cake and I said, I see cakes in Matt Crafton, I get nervous. But talk about Thorsport, you know, a nice this team is so solid, consistent, and you guys win races, have done it for years. What is it about this team that makes it special? You've been with them a long time.
Duke and Rhonda Thorson and the great sponsors that we've had, like Menards, they've been with me and been with this team for a long time. They've stuck with us through thick and through thin, and we keep growing it every year, getting it better and better. And without the people like Duke and Rhonda and Menards, I mean, this wasn't possible. And there's some of the, I always say they're the owners that are overshadowed because there's some of the other owners they always talk about, the Roush's, this and that, have ran all these races, but it shows the commitment that they've done in this truck series and helped build it each and every year. I mean, it says a lot, and very happy to drive for them as well.
And you guys have got it turned around 3 solid finishes in a row, including a win.
Yeah. I mean, we have actually have a pretty good truck here. Just did not qualify as well as we have. Duke always makes fun of me about how I qualify, but not real worried about it. We got 50 laps to do it, so I got to get in a hurry from the green flag to the checkered flag and qualify every lap now.
That's Matt Crafton. Krista?
Everybody ready to race. One of the big stories in Sprint Cup, Brad Keselowski's fractured ankle. Well, Parker Kligerman, who races for Brad here, was going to practice Brad's nationwide car in Iowa, then fly here to Pocono. But because Brad has been cleared to race his Cup car, Sam Hornish took over all Iowa duties. Parker Kligerman led laps for the first time in his truck career last week. He is also one to watch. More to come. The setup is presented by Polaris, the hardest working, smoothest riding off-road vehicles, now at your local dealer. And brought to you in high definition by Funai. Funai, fun and innovative. Experience more at FunaiAmerica.com.
Lucas Oil Raceway was a lot of fun for me. Running the truck in Nationwide this weekend, I figured why not run the ARCA race and get a little bit more track time.
2 more chances this weekend for James Busher to do just a bit better. He'll finish 3rd tonight here at Indy.
We have a battle for the lead on the front stretch. I think James just went into fuel conservation mode. Timothy Peters is able to clear. James Busher off the corner and onto the back straightaway.
James Busher comes home with an impressive 2nd place finish.
3rd on Thursday night in ARCA, 2nd in the truck race, 2nd tonight.
3 top 3s. I can't really complain about that weekend.
James Busher did triple duty last week in Indy. Those finishes again, 3rd, 2nd, and 2nd. And in keeping with our theme of 3s, he is 3rd in points. He's also standing by with Ray.
Oh, we were just talking, James Busher and I were talking about, he's kind of cold here this weekend because he's used to the 107 in Houston. But my question is, you got Mark Martin as a teammate. How much do you rely on him, and how similar or different are your setups today?
They're fairly similar. We've got a lot of the same things underneath our trucks. I think I have chassis 203, he has 204. So, I mean, they're all built right in a line, and they're really, really similar. But, you know, he told me yesterday he was at a disadvantage to me at Pocono Raceway, and I don't see how, because he's raced here more than I could ever imagine racing here, and this is only my 2nd time here. So I think he was getting at that I ran the trucks all year, but he's still out-qualified me, out-practiced me, so hopefully we can just keep up with him and have a good race for Wolfpack Reynolds Chevy.
All right, a bunch of 2nd places for James Busher. Looked like his first win may come last week. He's getting close, Krista, no question about it.
Yeah, keep your eyes on him. He's definitely one of those guys close to that first win. As the drivers are at their trucks ready to go, we are getting ready for pre-race festivities. We will keep it here trackside for our opening ceremonies, beginning with God Bless America.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we draw ever closer to the start of today's Good Sam RV Service 125, we welcome you to Pocono, USA. Now, please stand, remove your hats for the singing of God Bless America, the invocation, and the singing of our national anthem. Today's colors are presented by Cub Scout Pack 21 from Dixon City, Pennsylvania. We welcome Dominic Allen, Joshua Zarnowski, and Nathan Zarnowski, and their leader, Jeff Allen. And we also extend a very special welcome to our signer today during the God Bless America and National Anthem. That is Carl Bradshaw from the Scranton School for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing Children. Ladies and gentlemen, for the singing of God Bless America, Mr. Clark Lewis.
As the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us pledge allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair, as we raise our voices in a solemn prayer. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Race fans, we ask you that you please remain standing as we wait for network television to join us trackside momentarily. Thank you. For our invocation, Father Mike Salnicki.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, in your divine providence, you provide for all of our needs. We ask you to bless today's Good Sam RV Emergency Road Service 125 and Pennsylvania 125 racing events. Keep us in the protective safety of your hand and help us to remember that everything we do is for the greater honor and glory of your name. Amen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the
Who's faster, these drivers or Mother Nature? It's a race scheduled for 50 laps. It could be even quicker than that. Don't you dare walk away.
In 2 weeks, the Camping World Truck Series convoy heads north to the Michigan International Speedway. This year's points battle is looking to be one of the tightest ones yet. With high value on every point, everybody will be looking to make an impact in Michigan. But only one can come out on top. Chris Devoda hosts the setup, starting at 12 p.m. Eastern, followed by flag-to-flag coverage, only on Speed.
Still to come on your plate, racing this weekend, nationwide series at my favorite little track of Iowa, and lots of racing here in Pocono. Sprint Cup Series takes over tomorrow. Drivers are in their trucks just awaiting the command. Some storylines to follow. I mean, when you think of the Pocono Mountains, you think rest and relaxation. Not today. This thing is about to bust wide open. So why watch this race? Well, we have a trio, keeping again with our theme of threes, of Cup stars in this race. Mark Martin back in a truck for the first time in nearly 4 years. Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick, two owners on the front row. The number 2 truck, the one Kevin's driving today, the only truck that has been to victory lane here at Pocono. They have a lot of Long Pond experience, those three. That's the long. Here's the short of it. This is a short race scheduled for only 50 laps. It is an all-out sprint. It will fly by. And if you're keeping one eye on these drivers, keep another eye on the sky, because it could go by even quicker. Weather is coming. Mother Nature will play a factor. These drivers and these crew chiefs know it, so strategy could come into play as well. Taking a look at the radar, there you see what we're fighting. Drivers know it, teams know it, NASCAR knows it. We're in a hurry-up mode trying to get this race started, and we will do that very shortly. And actually, we have a few raindrops as we speak right now on our lenses. A breeze actually picking up just a little bit. Again, Kevin Harvick on the pole, Kyle Busch alongside. Kevin Harvick had Elliott Sadler in his truck last year. Sadler went on to win this race and rejuvenate his career. Could that happen? Maybe a first-time winner like Nelson Piquet or Miguel Paludo in the fold. James Buescher looking very strong as well. And don't forget about Mark Martin. These drivers are ready, and so are we. Don't blink, you will miss something. It's time for today's command.
With us today, serving as Grand Marshal for the Good Sam 125 and giving the command to start engines, Mr. Mark Cupper and Good Sam. And Mark will also be our honorary flagger. Serving as today's Grand Marshal, too, will be Prabhuling Patel of Good Sam Enterprises.
On behalf of Good Sam Emergency Road Service, gentlemen, start your engines.
Okay, go ahead and fire it up. Crank it, Mark.
Only 50 laps. It's an old school shootout. Quick, dirty, and dangerous. It's truck racing on speed, and it's going to start right now.
Oh, cheerio. I'm Professor Speed. Welcome to today's lesson. Today, we will learn about triangles, specifically the scalene triangle. It features 3 different angles and 3 different sides. As today's track Pocono demonstrates, the scalene is the most exciting shape in all of racing. Crazy speeds, close calls, awesome wrecks! Which brings us to our first rule. 2 objects cannot occupy the same space at the same time. As these examples show, that is against the laws of physics.
Looked like a bunch of bowling pins to me. Everybody was bouncing off of somebody.
A key equation to remember is that momentum equals mass times velocity. Nowhere is this rule more evident than on the pavement of Pocono.
I don't see anybody catching that 2 truck from here.
White flag, buddy. We just got to finish.
He who uses momentum reaps its rewards.
Pole sitter, race winner.
Well, this 40-year-old racetrack has seen the biggest and best names in the sport go to victory lane. See who gets there today. Welcome to the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series Good Sam RV Emergency Road Service 125 on speed. Trucks already rolling around this racetrack. The weather, the big story. It's 76 degrees right now. Chance of rain probably 100%. The radar looks like it is coming, and we just need to know when that is going to happen. Starting grid's going to roll across the top of your screen. Kevin Harvick grabs his second career Truck Series pole. Imagine that. His first one came at Gateway. He won from the pole there. We'll see if he's able to duplicate that later today. Kyle Busch will start on the inside of row number 1. Want to take a look at the particulars of this racetrack.
Unique, Rick. That's what this racetrack's all about. You have 3 different turns and 3 different straightaways. That means the drivers have to compromise, but they hope that their trucks don't have to compromise. They need to work well in all these corners if they're going to win here.
Going to shine a light on a few different drivers in our speed spotlight today. As the field making their way out of turn number 3 and onto the front stretch. We go first to Ray.
Well, thank you, Rick. Today I'm going to look at Wes Burton. He is driving for Jim Rosenblum and the FDNY Chevrolet. This team is always happy to be at the racetrack, and they're happy to have this young driver making just his second start for this team. Wes's primary job is to sell racing parts. His ultimate goal is to be driving a whole bunch of parts together. Hermie?
Well, Ray, it's good to see Chris Fontaine back in the racetrack in this number 84 truck. He started off with a couple decent runs, finished 19th at Daytona, 18th at Dover, 18th at Charlotte. Well, I talked to Chris after qualifying today. This is the last race he has until Talladega, unless sponsorship can be found. He hopes to turn a good run into some good opportunities down the line. Phil?
Hermie, I want to talk about 28-year-old Peyton Sellers from Danville, Virginia. He started racing in go-karts and mini sprints and then moved up to the Wheel and All-American Series. And in 2005, he was their national champion with 15 wins and 28 starts. He ran the K&N East and West Series from 2006 to 2008 with 2 wins in those series. And this weekend, Michael and Rick did not start out too well. This is Thursday. His hauler was coming down the front straightaway and knocked the flag stand down. And the guys have made amazing repairs here to put a new flag stand up. And this is yesterday. He blows an engine and catches everything on fire. It burns up all the wiring, all the hoses underneath that truck. His guys have to go and put that truck back together. Qualifying his issues didn't stop. He had a miss in the engine, so the guys have worked on that some more. Hopefully they have it fixed, and Peyton Sellers will start the back of the field.
Guys, look at the 22nd place starter, 26-year-old Chad McCumbee from North Carolina. This is Dale Jr., y'all. Well, Chad played Dale Jr. on TV in the movie 3. In real life, though, man, can this kid drive. Listen to these stats. He's a 3-time World Karting Association champion, a 2-time Allison Legacy champ, 2 ARCA wins, and nearly won a truck race back in 2008 at Charlotte. We talked about experience being a key to having success here at Pocono. He has it at this racetrack. He's raced Cup, truck, and ARCA. He's got an ARCA win. Good day for Chad McCumbee. Go get him, Dale. Chad.
Well, the field is 2 by 2 coming through turn number 3. Again, the uniqueness of this racetrack, you have just 3 turns. And on the wall, it actually says, there's no turn 4. Where's turn number 4?
We don't have no stinking turn 4 here, Rick.
What turn 4? Letting them know one more time around before we get the green flag. Again, precipitation in the area, the possibility of rain could be at any time, but what is the recipe for success? We've got to figure that out, and we look at our Walmart recipe for success. We'll start with Ray.
Well, normally it would be M&M's, Rick. That makes everybody happy. But today for Kyle Busch, it's an M&M Mars product called Coca Via. You'll have a little different look on that 18 truck today. It might be hard to spot, but it probably won't be hard to see later because there's a very good chance it'll be in victory lane. Why is that? Well, when Kyle drives this particular truck, which is chassis number 4, he has done 6 wins in 7 races. That's some incredible numbers. It's his favorite, and Kyle Busch is on a mission today. He'll start inside of Kevin Harvick, who's decided to take the outside line. Hermie?
Well, Ray, talk about a team and a driver that is exceeding expectations. Veteran driver David Starr in that number 81 truck has really put a nice string of runs together. Here are the last 4 races, 4 consecutive top 10 finishes. They finished 8th at Kentucky, 8th at Nashville, 9th at Iowa, and the 3rd last weekend at LOR. They bring a lot of momentum into this racetrack, and it's nice to see a veteran driver like David Starr team with a veteran team like the 81 team to get some results on limited sponsorship. Watch out for these guys today as they try to keep it going. Rick?
Thanks, Hermie. Both of those guys talked about experience. Obviously, we've got Kyle Busch with experience. David Starr has a lot of experience in the trucks, but has the same amount of experience as everyone else in this truck series because we have only run 2 truck races. This will be the 2nd today. Jason White will carry the Funai on board. Jason starting in the 20th position today.
We're also going to ride along with Cole Witt. Cole is 5th in points now, only 29 back in his Fuel Dr. Chevrolet, and Cole will start from the 18th spot.
Talking about points, let's ride along with our second place cat. The points only 4 back, rolling off from the 8th spot in the Bass Pro Shop Chevy. That's Austin Dillon. Been close to winning the last couple of weeks. Can he pull it off here?
Yeah, that's the big question. Our Toyota onboard carried by Kyle Busch. He'll start on the inside of row number 1. The pole winner, Kevin Harvick, decided he would take the outside line to start this race. We'll see if that is the best move going into turn number 1.
You know, the Walmart recipe for success might be having a good weather forecaster in your pit.
Yeah.
When to come to pit road and make that pit stop. You know, last week at LOR, Lucas Oil Raceway, that played into the who won that race. Timothy Peters got on pit road before everyone else, or after everyone else got his tires, made it all the way to the checkered flag. Took a gamble, and that gamble paid off.
And it won't just be fun with Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick on the front row.
2 by 2, the field all in line between 2 Cup veterans. Green flag flies. We're underway at Pocono.
We talk about drafting, Phil. Watch these guys start shoving each other down this front straightaway, trying to get a push, get that draft, and get down to turn 1 first. Look at them flaring out. That's all because of the draft that they're catching.
Side by side, the first 2 rows entering turn number 1.
Remember these trucks qualifying, how all over the racetrack they were. It's not going to be that much better right now on low air pressure.
Kevin Harvick goes out front of Kyle Busch as they go down Long Pond straightaway.
I just love that sight right there. Watch these cats flare out, trying to break the aero draft off of Kyle Busch. That's why Harvick was low on that straightaway.
And it's so hard to do with these trucks because they punch such a big hole in the air. I don't think you can break the draft.
Side by side, Crafton and Austin Dillon in this first lap. Joey Coulter looking at the inside of that 8 of Nelson Piquet Jr.
How about Ron Hornaday dive bombing to the bottom of the racetrack? Remember, there's more grip up top where these trucks are running. We've got a few trucks down on the bottom, though.
It's a shorter distance around the bottom, and that's a great trade-off. It's a good place to try to get a pass made because you know that bottom's going to be open. You get down to turn 1, they're going to run pretty much the middle of this part of the track, I believe, because it's so rough down on the bottom of the racetrack. It's hard to get your truck hooked up down there because of the bumps.
See, Mark Martin is down there in the bumps. He pulls to the inside of the 8/8 of Crafton.
Mark Martin can do things mortal men can't. He's proven that ever since he showed up. 50 starts in Cup this weekend here for Mark Martin, so he knows where those bumps are, and he also knows how those bumps are going to affect his truck.
Mark Martin starting this race in the 5th position, trying to move up, close in on the 2 Cup drivers, trying to pull away from the field. Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch running 1 and 2. Parker Kligerman runs 3rd. Then James Buescher's been able to get by Nelson Piquet Jr. for the 4th spot, and Joey Coulter rounding out that top 5.
This is a truck we've seen, Phil, ever since we got to Pocono, ever since the first laps on the track. He struggled. What's wrong with it now? Looks like he's well off the pace.
Yeah, still way up the off the racetrack.
Kligerman to the inside for the 3rd position, and the caution comes out. Debris early on in the race, and you see it looks like part of a tire over there on the right. That's Cole Witt's.
I guess we know now why Cole Witt was slow.
Yeah, we speculated he had some sort of a problem. Obviously, that appears to be it. Keep watching for Cole there. There he is right there. Right rear tire casing comes off.
Wow. Lucky he didn't do more damage to that truck.
Absolutely.
It looks like maybe he got away with it. First of all, he didn't spin out, which is amazing. We talk about 180 some miles an hour done into turn 1, doing that with a flat tire. Yeah. And then he was able to get it under control, slow it down so he didn't tear the fender off of it, Ray. Great job by Cole Witt.
It was, Michael. And, you know, these guys have been dragging the racetrack, bottoming out and hitting the splitter. And Cole said it just won't go through the bumps. So Marcus Richmond, the crew chief, said let's go up a couple of pounds on that right side air pressure, trying to get it a little more ground clearance. But, yeah, Cole did a great job. They'll get back onto the racetrack. So good break for these guys to not tear the fenders up.
And nice thing about that is this racetrack is so big he was able to come down pit road without losing a lap.
So the first caution comes out early. It's for debris. Cole Witt's right rear tire comes off, and we are under our first caution. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series on Speed is brought to you by Camping World and the Good Sam RV Club. Everything you need for the RV lifestyle, including RVs, accessories, warranties, insurance, roadside assistance, and more. By the new Low Rise Collection from Fruit of the Loom. by Mobil 1, the world's leading synthetic motor oil brand. Puts NASCAR in your car with the one Mobil 1. And by Roundup brand. Kills weeds to the root so they don't come back. Field 2x2 once again behind the pace truck.
We're lined up and ready to go back at it again.
And Kevin's going to go from the outside once again.
A few trucks came onto pit road.
Could come into play later on here as we get towards halfway.
Max Pappas coming off the pit road.
When you see a truck like Max Pappas, he had to start at the back of the field because his crew chief missed the driver's crew chief meeting. And so they're going to try to parlay that mistake into something positive. Get him some gas. He can go further now than the guys are going to be up front. Can he go far enough to maybe catch the right, have the timing work out, or maybe he's out front when it rains? That's his gamble right now.
And remember, not only have these guys burned the fuel out since the start of the race, but all the pace laps, we ran 3 pace laps, as well as qualifying. These guys were not able to top these trucks off. So it could be a huge advantage down the road.
Expecting the fuel mileage, some can get upwards of 32 to potentially 35 laps around here. That would be stretching it, but that's quite a few.
I don't think on this first run, Rick, and this first run is the one that's going to matter today, because this will probably be the only pit stop, the one that they make right around, I'm guessing, lap 30 or so.
Randy Kaiser takes the pace truck off of the racing surface and onto pit road. Green flag back in the air. Harvick again choosing the outside line. Kyle Busch on the inside. They come right at you in turn number 1.
They're 2 wide. They're 3 wide. Do we see 4? Yes, I hear 4. Oh, we got in trouble.
Contact. Jason White sliding.
Whoa, what a job, Jason.
Stays out of the wall. And no contact yet. Around he goes, and the field slows behind him.
Look at the damage to the rear of that gun-broken truck. That's how hard he was hit.
Boy, I'm just glad that truck didn't wind up in the outside wall. He is headed right for it at one point. You know, last week at Lucas Oil Raceway, Jason made almost a lap before he got clobbered.
Well, he got to turn 1.
Yeah, he was on his way to making a lap. He got clobbered and wrecked.
Got a little damage on the left rear there.
Every chance. You could see somebody clobbered him from behind on the restart here.
Real gentle. Just be real gentle.
Just making sure that the left rear tire doesn't go down and tear up that left rear fender.
Everybody fighting for position here. You see some trucks pull out. You see Jason back there on the left-hand side. Look like that. It's Justin Lofton, I believe, the 6 truck right behind him, and that may have been a bit of a chain reaction.
Did you see him
hit a damage? Is that Justin's truck?
Yeah, the right front has damage just behind the 23.
That right there.
There's the 23 of.
And watch, see if we get contact from the 6. Oh, you see, he had to slow down in order to not run into Brendan Gaughan.
Look at the angle this truck is headed toward that outside wall.
Look at his right front tire was turned about as far as it would turn to the left. And that kept him out of that outside wall.
That was close. Justin Lofton's going to get the short end of this. See everybody stacking up. Justin clobbers the back of Jay White. Nothing Justin can do there. He doesn't know that the whole world's getting ready to stop. Jay almost goes into the outside wall. Justin's got a lot of damage to the front of his truck. Jason, I think, can fix his and still be competitive.
The first couple guys have an advantage because they can see it. The farther back it goes, the more difficult it becomes.
Let's ride along with Jason White and see what it felt like.
Well, Brennan came to a sudden stop there because he had to stop to keep from running into the truck in front of him. Incredible job by Jason not to hit the wall.
And I know we always talk about it being an accordion effect. Somebody missed a gear apparently in front of even Brendan Gaughan, and because they were going up through the gears.
Probably the 3-4 shift more than likely.
This is one lucky old dog right there. Got an Aaron's lucky dog back on the lead lap.
Kevin Harvick will bring the field once again to the green flag. He and Kyle Busch making up the front row, trying to sort it out after this, the second caution. Tomorrow, NASCAR's Ultimate Pre-Race Show gets you your Pulse Racing from Pocono. Denny Hamlin joins us live. Plus, Paul Menard discusses why his Brickyard win was so special. NASCAR Race Day built by the Home Depot live from Pocono tomorrow, 10 Eastern on Speed.
You know, you talk about some cats with some special wins. Timothy Peters getting a big win in Daytona and then going to his home track in Martinsville and winning. What about that victory for Paul Menard? His family grew up. He grew up at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And to pull into victory lane for his dad, John, who's meant so much to all of motorsports, I thought that was a pretty cool day.
Yeah, his dad was such a big supporter, huge supporter of motorsports, John Menard, and came so close so many times to winning the Indy 500. And then his son, Paul, gets that win at the Brickyard 400. That was incredible.
First thing Paul said on the radio when he crosses the finish line, Dad, that was for you.
Oh, yes, that was.
Very cool.
Green flag, green flag back in the air. Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch making up row number 1.
Mark Martin pulls out.
Okay, that's 3, 4, and 5 wide. Thank you.
Johnny Sauter pulls out. Look at Johnny Sauter getting back in this fight here after starting last.
That just tells you what kind of team Johnny Sauter has behind him. Pull a truck off the truck and go out there and be that fast that early. That shows you what this team, how this team is committed to this championship. Leading it by 4 points, but had a few mistakes lately. Got to straighten that out today. Take that qualifying mess up and turn it into a good finish is really important for Johnny Sauter.
See Ron Hornaday pull the inside of Joey Coulter. Ooh, slides out. Ron got a little bit loose.
Looked like Todd Bodine got into the back of Matt Crafton too as a result of Ron getting checked up.
How about Miguel Paludo driving to the inside of Mark Martin?
Miguel Paludo in the 7 truck going down to the bottom of turn number 3.
As is Ron Hornaday down to the bottom. That's not the first time we've seen Ron down there. Well, he's going to work for him.
He went to the bottom at the tunnel and almost didn't come out of the tunnel.
The serpentine down this long front stretch. Kevin Harvick trying to break the air up so that someone doesn't get an advantage.
Got a smoker in the back.
Is that Jason White?
Jason White.
Something just happened left rear.
Jason White, watch yourself. Left front. Some smoke rolling out underneath that truck. Herbie.
You guys have talked about Mark Martin. He has steadily been falling back, but it's not up to speed. It's his problem. It is the initial start and the restarts. Mark has told Doug Joyce the shifter inside of this truck will not allow him to hit 4th gear. It's taken him a couple times on each restart to get high gear, really hurting Mark Martin on the starts.
Now pulling to the inside of Matt Crafton once again. He's gotten back by Miguel Paludo. Mark's on the inside down there. See Matt up there in the grip strip, they call it. A new piece of pavement up there 3 years ago.
Todd Bodine was able to get by the 33 and 88. So Bodine moving up toward the front. Last time by scored in the 10th position. Now has moved up to the 8th spot.
You know, I think Mark Martin will feel a sense of urgency now. If he's having transmission trouble, having a difficult time going up through the gears, he needs as much cushion as he can get on these starts or on these restarts, the subsequent restarts. So he needs to get by as many trucks as he can.
You think maybe that was some of the issue we saw with Jason White in that backup? Maybe Mark had a little bit of trouble on that start, and that caused the chain reaction accident.
Very possible.
Johnny Sauter moving up on the outside. Again, Johnny Sauter having to start
up there.
In the back.
Ricky Carmichael going.
Carmichael went way up the racetrack, and that number 4 very close to hitting the wall.
Just narrowly avoiding the outside wall. We saw Johnny Sauter hit that wall hard during qualifying.
Comes Crafton to the high side. Mark Martin in that 32 on the bottom of the racetrack trying to clear him.
And is able to clear him.
Makes that move on the bottom. That's an impressive move by Mark. Tells you he's got a great truck. But Phil, when you're up against Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, these boys, you can't give anything away.
Can't spot him a thing. Can't spot him a thing.
Austin Dillon currently running in the 6th spot.
This takes over that 5th spot from Nelson BK Jr. Austin really struggled during practice yesterday, and it looks like they made some changes. He was really loose qualifying, but when we talked to him in the setup show, he sounded pretty optimistic.
He said, I'm going to lean on my teammates yesterday. He said, I got to hear what they're doing, what they've got for setups, and maybe we can fix our truck. He drove around PK into the top 5. I'd say that truck might be fixed.
Absolutely.
Harvick, Busch, Buescher, your top 3. Kligerman, Dillon, your top 5. And PK Jr., Joey Coulter, Todd Bodine, Ron Hornaday, and Mark Martin in the top 10. There's a battle for the 5th spot. Austin Dillon has it as they go through 3.
All 3 Chevrolets, all with DCR engines.
The long front straightaway, 3,740 feet.
Got a couple of Chevrolets, a Toyota, and a Dodge in the top 4, so pretty good mix of manufacturers up front. See Mark Martin trying to work over Ron Hornaday there as Matt Crafton looks to the bottom of Timothy Peters.
Mark's going to dive to the inside of Hornaday. He's going to pull up even with him as they exit turn number 1.
Be interesting to see if they get to, yeah, Ron just pulls right in. I was wondering if he would try to run into the tunnel side by side. Really no reason to do that right now. Mark's eating him up. Just get behind him and try to draft off of him, pull away from Peters and Crafton. Don't go in there side by side and give up 2 more spots by letting those other 2 come to the party. Mark's fast, as you can see. He just drove away 4 or 5 truck lengths there from Ron over the tunnel. He's got his sights set on Todd Bodine up ahead.
These trucks are getting faster, too. A number of the trucks just ran their fastest lap of the race this last lap here. Several of the other trucks the previous lap.
Things continue to get worse for the 23 of Jason White. While he was on pit road working on that truck, he came off the pit road a little quick, so NASCAR said, you got to come back down and give me a pass-through penalty. The 3 of Austin Dillon in the 5th spot. We're seeing a few umbrellas coming out now. We're hearing a little bit of rain. The camera operators up on the roof are letting us know that there is some rain falling.
That's a bit of a bad sign when the pit boxes have umbrellas.
And the caution is coming out now. NASCAR has thrown the yellow flag for rain.
Remember last week, we thought for sure it was going to rain, and it didn't. Or it did for a minute, and then it quit. Maybe it's the same.
Could be.
We would hope.
Kevin Harvick said it was going to rain out qualifying earlier, I think. It did.
Uh-oh. Kyle Busch, a lot of smoke coming out from underneath that truck as he slows down.
That looks just like the smoke that came.
Left front tires flat, isn't it, Michael?
Yeah, that's exactly what Jason White's truck looked like when he started smoking.
So Kyle Busch running 2nd when this caution came out. Now smoke rolling out from underneath that truck. Again, halfway. This race, 25 laps. We're 10 away from that. A race is not official unless you pass the halfway point. Ray, what's going on with the 18?
Well, the left front tire is down, Rick. As he went by here, you could see it was already down to the rim, and they just went by the entrance to, or the exit to pit road, so he's got a long way to go to get back down here to the pits. When the 23 came down last time, it was because their left front shock had broken. The upper mount to the shock broke, and they've actually removed that shock. So the 23's running without a shock, but the 18 left front tire completely down. Let's hope it doesn't shred apart and tear up that front fender.
Well, even more importantly, Ray, just hope that he doesn't get down on that sway bar arm and rub something loose under the suspension of that truck.
The thing that people might ask is why doesn't he slow down so that he doesn't tear that tire up? You have to maintain a cautious pace to make sure that you hold your position.
Well, it doesn't matter. He's coming to pit road anyway,
right.
So it doesn't matter. He could slow down to 10 seconds slower than everyone else and still make his way to pit road. And it doesn't matter if he comes in when it's open or not. It's going to take some probably extended work here to make sure that nothing is wrong underneath that truck.
Yeah, it's starting to tear up a little bit. You're starting to see part of the tire coming off now.
I think he's comfortable with the speed he's rolling, that he can make it to the pit and not tear apart. If it started to flap, he would definitely get on the brakes. Sacrifice any track position just to make sure you don't tear up your fender.
We saw early on in this race Cole Witt having a tire go down and away on him. They run interliners here.
Here we come, boys. Off of 3 and coming to you. 4,600 at the line.
They're all
going
coming,
long.
Phil. Yeah. They may feel like this gets them close to the window, and certainly in the window if we get some extended rain here, and this race may be shortened.
Parker Kligerman and Joey Coulter both decide to stay on the track.
Hermie Sadler.
Yeah, James Busher brings his truck down pit road. He asked his crew chief, James Busher did, what is our window to make it the rest of the way? And they said they could probably push it from lap 17, but no room for a green-white checker. Fuel and 2 tires for James Busher. Greg?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be tight on the fuel window here, Hermley. Left front completely shredded. They're going to have a hard time getting the truck picked up for Kyle Busch. They're going to have to do that. And for the 2 truck up at the front of the field, they're going with a 4-tire stop. Wedge adjustment for Kevin Harvick, a little bit tight on the entry. Kyle Busch is going to lose a huge amount of track position. He'll be just about the last truck to lead pit road.
Saw the hood up on the 13 of Johnny Sauter. Again, that's a backup truck. After qualifying, they had to bring the backup out, and obviously making some adjustments now to that race truck.
What do you think, Bill? They
just shock, maybe. Do you think?
It looks like maybe they might have missed the
one in the left side, then. One in the left front. Is the
what it
splitter
would
in on
take
the left side?
to clear the splitter, to keep the splitter off the road. They can see them putting rounds in the front of that truck. That's something, if you go out and practice a lap or 2, you find out that quick. They didn't have that luxury. The thing evidently was too low for Johnny, and they're in the front end there raising it up.
He was running 13th when he came on to, or 14th when he came on to pit road.
They're looking at the tire, trying to figure out why that left front went down on the 18 of Kyle Busch. Stay with us. More from Pocono after this.
It's Camping World's Destination Recreation.
Chairs, chairs, and more chairs. That's what we've got down here at Crazy Ray's Chair City. We got little ones, we got gray ones, we got brown ones, we got blue ones and yellow ones. We've got them with prints on them. We've got everything you need. And we've got the comfy mesh chair. Well, actually, you have to go to Camping World to get the comfy mesh chair, but this has got to be one of my favorites. Now, when you do go to Camping World to get yourself a nice chair, they all have a lot of the same features. They recline. You can lock them in. You can put your beverage or your cell phone right here. But what I love about the comfy mesh chair is they make sure that the grommets are covered so you never get burnt. And when the breeze blows through, it makes it so you don't have sweaty back.
All I know is he started off Crazy Rays, and that is very accurate. The rain is coming. The rain is here. At Pocono, the trucks are being stopped, and they're going to be covered on pit road. In front of this field is Parker Kligerman. That would be good, with the exception of he didn't come to pit road, and we've only completed 17 laps. So we will have to come to pit road at some point in time before the end of this race.
You remember last week at Lucas Oil Raceway, that team stayed out gambling on the rain to come past halfway, led it to halfway, got past, and really fell back because of his tires. So
and then to make a green flag pit stop later on, where some of the other drivers, a lot of the other drivers made it on fuel.
But there's no strategy here other than he gets capturing a little TV time for sure for his sponsors there.
They're going to be leading for a long time here, it looks like.
Looks like the track's pretty well going to be down for a while, so he'll be up front. Sure, Mr. Penske appreciates that.
Drivers will start to climb out of their race trucks. The red flag is out at Pocono Raceway here in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. The rains have come. Stay with us right here on Speed.
RV.com.
Wednesday night on Speed, 4 car fanatics face off in the wildest car competition ever. Don't miss an all-new episode of My Ride Rules Wednesday night, 9 Eastern, exclusively on Speed. While it's raining, let's go down to Ray.
Well, thank you, Rick. We were just standing here. Matt Crafton was speculating that if we hadn't had cautions, we might have got to lap 26, but we want to see the whole race anyway.
You're being Mr. Negative. We were just looking for the end of it right there at that point. It's going to be a while to drive this racetrack. First run, it was really good, Menard Chevy, and then had a bad restart and got fanned out and got shuffled right there, and we'll be fine though.
You know, I'm curious, Matt, how these trucks react whenever you are in that tight pack, because we see practice so often, especially at a racetrack like this. You're all out there by yourself.
Yeah, exactly. You run by yourself, and you have no idea what it's going to act like in traffic when you get 2 trucks in front of you and you get side by side with somebody. I mean, it's such a huge deal, this front straightaway with these trucks drafting down here. I mean, next thing you think you have a good run coming off turn 4, coming down the back straightaway, next thing you know, they fanned out and going 3 wide by you. Man, it's definitely huge. It's just like Daytona here, and you've got to be in a pack, and you got to stay in single file. If you pull out and you pull out too soon, that whole pack's going to go back by you. But all in all, hopefully we can get staying in and we can run all 50.
Pretty amazing the work that the crew had to do. A lot of your crew guys jumped over there on the 13. Have you gotten any report from your teammate about what they're working on?
No, I haven't. I haven't talked to him yet, and I'm sure we'll have plenty of time to go talk to him about it here in just a little bit, because I think it's going to take a little while to drive this racetrack.
All right, okay. Matt Crafton going to have a bit of time, and things have not started very well for the 23 team. Let's get a report from Hermie's end.
You're right. The start of this race has not been what Jason White and team wanted. Brand new truck, a lot of high expectations. One thing after another. Lead us through what happened and what you guys have been working on since the wreck.
Well, you know, our truck was really fast. You know, we didn't qualify as good as we liked, but we started to pick off 4 or 5 of them just steadily coming through there. Had that caution, everybody kind of bunched up. I lifted and, you know, just got ran in the back of. If I wouldn't have got run in the back of, we'd have been fine, you know. And just a shame. I mean, this whole team's worked hard the last couple of weeks, and we just had a lot of people running into us and stuff like that. So it happens, and we'll just have to fix it up and get our laps back to see where it goes.
And you guys came down pit road with a left front tire issue after that. What was going on with that?
Yeah, the shock mount actually broke. So what it did is when we went back out and put tires on it, it cut the tire, and so our shock was broke. So they got that fixed now, so we're a couple ups down. We'll just have to see how it goes.
That's Jason White. He's hoping to get back going here soon and get a couple of these laps back and get back in contention.
Thanks, Army. In looking at the radar, it doesn't look like they're going to get back soon. It looks very dark green coming up from our west and south, and this is moving in a northeasterly pattern. So right now, obviously, we're going to have to wait out the rain, and it's going to take a while to dry this racetrack. It's 2.5 mile racetrack.
This is a lot of racetrack to dry, and this thing is very, very wide. But one thing I noticed when we were looking at that replay of what happened to Jason, and we speculated maybe that Mark Martin, because of learning about his transmission trouble, may have had something to do with that. And you saw on that replay the gap in front of Mark Martin. So more than likely, he didn't get his truck into high gear when he wanted to. Everyone else was accelerating, and that caused that chain reaction that ultimately led to Jason's problems.
So umbrellas at a racetrack are not a good sight, and that's what we're seeing right now. The grandstands have emptied out a bit. Take another look at this restart.
Here's what you're talking about, Phil. We heard that Mark Martin didn't get the start he wanted. Watch right here. Freeze it. Freeze right there. Look at the gap, and look how fast these other trucks are closing on Mark Martin. They're closing on him really fast, and that means trouble, because when you're a couple of trucks back, you can't see what's happening, and that describes exactly where Jason White was. He gets into the back of Brendan Gaughan, gets clobbered from behind, and almost runs that truck head on into the outside wall.
Yeah, and he's 5 or 6 trucks back, so that's, the guy right in front of Mark Martin was the guy that had the best viewpoint, and he was able to get slowed down. And each truck you go back farther, the harder it becomes, and then obviously by the time they got to Jason, it was a mess.
You see the jet dryers waiting to go onto the racetrack and dry the racetrack, but the problems as the rain is continuing to fall. Officials are saying, well, what do you want for dinner? Not right, not sure.
We'll fix it.
Could take upwards of 2 hours to dry the racetrack once the rains stop. We don't know exactly when that will happen. So we're under a rain delay at Pocono Raceway here in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. The Good Sam RV Emergency Road Service 125 delayed. Welcome back. We're under a rain delay at Pocono Raceway for this, the 14th truck race of the 2011 season. And when you come to Pocono, you're not sure if you're going to have fog or rain or maybe sunny skies, but so far it's been difficult for us.
What a great weekend it's been weather-wise. Really fresh. The track is fast. These guys ran great speeds this morning in qualifying.
Kevin Harvick set a new track record for this truck race here. Let's take a look at how we got to this point 17 laps into this race.
Start of the race, it was Kevin Harvick who set that new track record. Just beside him, Kyle Busch. But look at the 32 on this first start.
This is a sign of things to come. Watch, Hornaday closes right in on Mark. He had some issues on that initial start. Didn't cause a problem there, but wait till the next one.
Foreshadowing. Lap 2, Cole Witt coming through turn number 1. The tire comes off.
That's going to bring out caution flag number 1.
So we have the second restart. And this is what Jason White saw.
About 4 trucks up ahead, Phil. That's where Mark Martin was, and he didn't get going again. He couldn't get his truck in 4th gear. We heard him report to his team he was having issues getting it in high gear. Right there is an example of him having an issue, and it ultimately caused Jason White a big moment.
Jason did a terrific job not getting that truck into the outside wall, but there are some other drivers that did an amazing job missing him.
It's a brand new truck for Jason White. Looked like it was about done right there on the front straightaway.
Third caution, the rain came. That's what brought out that yellow flag. And while we're under caution, the 18 had a left front tire go completely down.
Took a little extra time on pit road. Right now he is being shown in that 19th position. Several trucks stayed on the racetrack. I think 6 trucks stayed on the racetrack, but he still lost a lot of time on pit road.
When the rains came, the drivers climbed out of their trucks, and now they're hanging out with our pit reporters. We'll go down to Ray.
We were standing here watching on our monitor of all the highlights or lowlights, whatever you would call. And Cole, you said you've had a pretty good view of almost all of those.
Yeah, unfortunately, and we were one of them. You know, it's not the way we want to start Pocono, but you know, we've been struggling here this weekend. We're trying to get our weekend turned around, but hopefully this rain clears out. You know, we want to get some laps in here, and I think we're all right. I mean, these Red Bull guys got us fixed up on that pit stop, so just we got a flat tire and put us a little bit behind even more, which we've already been behind. So we're trying to catch up here and just trying to get this weekend rolling, and everything's been happening right in front of us, but we're staying out of it, trying to stay out of trouble.
Okay, he stayed out, has not pitted yet, and maybe that'll help turn the luck around a little bit for team number 60. Hermie?
Well, we got Ricky Carmichael just before you fell asleep, getting a nap up in the holler, but, you know, try to get this thing going, but rain is setting. How's your truck been so far, and what's you guys out looking for get back going here today?
Yeah, the Monster Energy Chevrolet is good. It just, you know, we knew that there was a possibility of rain today, and it's just frustrating that we couldn't get more than 1 or 2 laps of caution-free racing. If we would have, this thing would have been really close to halfway, if not a couple laps over, and you know, maybe we wouldn't have to sit here all day and wait to run this thing. I mean, obviously we want to run the whole 50 laps, but if we don't get it in today, it's going to be a long wait till whenever we get this thing to run, and I doubt it'll be tomorrow. So, yeah, I think the truck's good. I think, you know, this is a lot like plate racing in these things. You got to get on that outside groove, and you got to kind of stay in the draft. So, you know, it's a bummer. It's a shame, but that's a penalty, the price you pay when we can't run 3 laps under green flag, you know.
As Ricky Carmichael, like everybody else, wants to get back on the racetrack. Rick?
Really positive outlook there from Ricky Carmichael.
Probably won't even get it done tomorrow.
Yeah, we can't race tomorrow, it sounded like.
I don't know if we're ever going to finish it.
Here's your top 10 as they sit on pit road. Parker Kligerman staying out, as did Joey Coulter, so that's why they were able to move to the front. We'll keep you updated on what's happening here, but after the break, the 10 on speed. We're back at Pocono Raceway. Welcome to the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series Good Sam RV Emergency Road Service 125 on speed. The weather has been the big story. It's 74 degrees now, humidity 94%. At the bottom of that graph, you see 60% chance of rain. Yes, the clouds have moved back in, but they have dried the racetrack. We are scheduled to get underway just after 9 o'clock here. They're about to fire the engines. Race leader Parker Kligerman. How did he get up there? Well, we're going to talk about that just in a moment.
How about our front row here on the outside? Pole sitter and new track record holder Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch on the inside.
Phil, note the start that Mark Martin gets here. See that gap? See the trucks flying out behind him? He did not get it in 4th gear right. That'll be important here in a minute. There's a caution just a second as Kevin Harvick grabs the lead. For Cole Witt, he has a flat tire. NASCAR has to go out and retrieve that debris. And when the restart after this happens, check out what happens to Mark Martin here.
That's Jason
They're all
White.
bunched up.
He's the one that gets the worst of the situation.
And how did that happen? It happened just like on the start of the race. Mark Martin didn't get going, and when he didn't, it bunched everyone up, and you see Jason looked like he was in a real bind. Here's the truck of Mark Martin. As they accelerate, you can see he's got a bit of a gap there, but watch what happens, Phil.
He's going to miss that shift.
He's getting ready to try to grab 4th right there, freeze it. And you see Jason White is all the way back here, and he is going to get the worst end of this deal. We got 3 trucks here. They all converge on Martin. And when they do, Jason gets a chain reaction hit in the back and goes spinning wildly down toward turn 1.
Michael, watch this now. Watch this truck that goes to the inside of Jason White as he's spinning. That silver truck, that's our point leader, Johnny Sauter, who had to go to a backup truck, narrowly avoiding Jason White.
And, you know, see the bank on that front straightaway, Phil? Johnny Sauter had to jerk that truck down to the left. That's a very, very difficult move to make.
Yeah, the third caution that came out was for rain, and so a few trucks were able to come onto pit road. One of them had problems under caution. That was Kyle Busch, had a left front tire go down.
But what a huge break. That happened as the caution was coming out for rain.
But you know, we've seen trucks in the past, Phil, when they drag around on a flat tire, they can damage the suspension up underneath that truck. So Kyle's been everybody's been sitting for about 20 hours now waiting to go racing, and I bet you Kyle Busch is wondering, is my truck okay?
The rain continued. They red flagged the race, and we're going to try it again today. This is how the top 10 will line up. Now, the top 6 here didn't come onto pit road on lap 15 when the first rain started to come down. So that is why the top 6 are where they are. Let's go down to pit road and Ray Dunlap.
And Rick, because those front trucks are up there, I spent an hour or so going up and down pit road talking to everybody about what will your strategy be today. And I have to tell you, there's not enough room in this little brain to keep it all straight. There are so many varying ideas of what might happen here. Obviously, the weather could be a big factor, but if this race goes to its conclusion to 50 laps, I expect most everybody that's out there to come back down pit road one time, or for those front 6 to get here for their first time. When will we see them on pit road? For sure by lap 35. Hermie?
Well, Ray, you know, the guys were talking about Mark Martin and the issues he was having on the restart using that shifter to get to high gear. That's not the end of the problems for the 32 truck. Yesterday, when the caution came out for rain, they did not realize that pit road was being opened, that NASCAR was opening the pits for actual pit stops. They were not ready for Mark when he got to the pit stop. The end result, they only got a little over 2 gallons of fuel in this truck. So although Mark Martin did pit yesterday, Crew Chief Joe George says he will have to be back to pit road to get more fuel before we go green. If not, he'll be out by lap 38.
Thanks, Hermie. So obviously a big mistake by the 32 team not filling that truck up with fuel.
Hadn't been a smooth run for Mark so far.
Sure hasn't. And they weren't ready for the pit stop, as Hermie said. So obviously he's going to have to come back in. I just wonder now if we're not going to run very many caution laps. We're talking about maybe running this one caution lap, coming to 1 to go. I think a lot of people are going to come to pit road. The sun is trying to pop out again right now, so we're thinking that we're going to get this thing to the full distance.
Yeah, and what I'm wondering, Phil, is do I come back now and top off? If I'm one of these teams, definitely if I don't think I got a truck that can just outrun everybody, maybe I come to pit road now, get a little bit more gas. It's right on the edge, but maybe you can make it to the 50 lap mark.
Yeah, again, on lap 15 is when most of the field came onto pit road. So the advantage on tires is going to be non-existent. 2 laps really, because it was under caution.
But we're going to be looking at lap 18. That's 7.5 miles. That's you know, a couple of gallons of gas maybe.
Yeah, that's the thing that people don't realize. You're talking about a lap here of 2.5 miles. That's over a half of gallon of fuel. They get about 4 miles to the gallon with these trucks.
In the field, working their way around the 2.5 mile Pocono Raceway. And the rains came yesterday, and they did not let up through the night. It took the safety workers and the crews here at the track this morning very early to dry this racetrack.
That's Johnny Sauter's pit right there. We know he's coming, and talked to some of his crew guys. They said they have to make another significant adjustment. We saw him come to pit road and raise that truck up. Remember, this is a backup truck. Johnny crashed qualifying, had to revert to a backup truck.
See if pit road opens and these guys can get onto pit road.
Pit road is still closed, I believe.
The flag up in the upper
right. It is open. They did open it.
Pit road. And so a few trucks are making their way down. Looks like Max Pappas will lead the trucks that are headed onto pit road.
You know, Max has used this pit road quite often in this event. His crew chief missed the driver's meeting. He's been in the back. Every time it opens, he comes and gets him something.
Ray Dunlap.
Guys, I just want you to know, if Johnny Sauter eventually wins the championship in 2011, they will look back on this race and the amount of work that they had to do after he crashed that truck in qualifying and say that was an effort that may have paid the dividends. In the race yesterday, they had great amounts of cording on the right front tire. So they did put some rounds in it, but now what they need to do is actually change the camber shim, which will change the alignment of the right front tire. They're going to do that under caution here and also make a shock adjustment, a few little body adjustments here, and fill it full of fuel. So by getting this gas here, Sauter may put himself in position to be okay to run much longer than some of these other trucks. But this camber shim is important because of that damage they saw on the right front.
As Phil mentioned, the sun trying to peek out of the clouds above Pocono Raceway. We have under 35 laps racing in this one. Speed's coverage of NASCAR Camping World Truck Series on Speed is brought to you by Funai in high definition. Funai, fun and innovative. Experience more at FunaiAmerica.com. By the 100% reinvented Ford Explorer. Drive one. By Allstate. Mayhem is everywhere. Protect yourself. Allstate. Are you in good hands? And by Aaron's. You don't need credit. All you need is Aaron's.
You don't need credit, Rick. Wow, they're not going again. Phil, do we Do we hit pit road and get some gas? Definitely if you're in the back, you do, right?
Absolutely. Johnny Sauter came back in with 1 to go, caught up to the field, came off Jason White's truck. You see all the damage to that left rear quarter panel. Probably a piece of the crush panel that flew off that truck. So Mark Martin's coming back down pit road. Hermie.
Yeah, well, the 32 truck pitted last time by when they waved off the 1 to go. Doug George called last minute for Mark to come back to pit road to top off again. The question is now, are they thinking about maybe potentially being able to make it to lap 50, Ray?
Well, same thing on my end, Hermie. We saw Kyle Busch come down and get fuel. Johnny Sauter also topping back off as they got ready to go back. So both of those trucks in much better position. So let's add the 32, the 18, and the 13 as guys who have an extra window on the rest of the field.
Closing in on the halfway point. We ride along on the Toyota onboard with just moments ago Kyle Busch, now with Austin Dillon. He'll also carry one of our cameras.
See Jason White. We had this camera on earlier yesterday. You'd have seen that outside wall. He was heading straight toward it, but he got it fought away from that wall, and the teams have made repairs. He's a couple laps down, but he's not out of the game yet.
Not at all. Cole Witt also carrying one of the cameras.
Saw Cole Witt have a flat tire early on lap number 2. Caused him a trip to pit road, but he is restarting in the 3rd spot. He elected not to come down pit road on this caution flag.
So 2 guys had flat tires we're riding with. 1 guy about had a crash. Austin Dillon's the only one unscathed. I hope maybe we can get Austin on through this race without a problem.
Let's stop that trim. So the lights are off on the pace truck, meaning this time by the green flag will fly once again. Almost 20 hours since the red flag came out. It's been a long wait for these drivers and crews.
We sure do know how to stretch out a 50 lapper, don't we?
20 hours.
Parker Kligerman on the outside, Joey Coulter on the inside of row number 1.
Both those trucks have not been to pit road yet.
Ooh, I like waking up on a Sunday morning and having a little NASCAR action. The trucks are going down to turn 1 here, about 180 miles.
Green flag.
Green flag back in the air. Sunday truck racing. Kyle Busch jets to the inside. Once he crossed the start-finish line, you have to stay in line until you get to that point.
One thing I was watching that time, Mark Martin was able to get that truck in high gear. That could come into play later on.
How about the move on the outside by Kevin Harvick in the 2?
You know that truck's strong. New track record here.
Kevin Harvick moved up into the 4th spot. Now looks to the inside, thinking about taking 3rd away. James Buescher just behind him in the 31. Right in front of him, the 39 of Ryan Sieg.
What about Ryan Sieg playing a little defense there? He drove down on the inside to block Kevin Harvick off. Kevin's going to fight to the bottom here in turn 3. Not much of a fight.
Not much of a fight. Kevin clears him, then moves back up onto the newer part of the asphalt.
And remember, a very green racetrack since the rain came yesterday. It hadn't stopped until they were able to dry it this morning.
Look at Mark Martin. He's shoving Brendan Gaughan down the front straightaway. That's that bump drop that we see at Daytona. It's alive and well at Talladega
How about
as well.
that? These trucks punch such a big hole in the air here.
Talladega and Pocono. Let's add Pocono to the list. Look at Ryan.
Very high on the racetrack. Cole Witt is looking to the bottom of the racetrack. Battle for second now. Here comes Harvick. Looking to the inside of Joey Coulter.
Remember, Kevin Harvick has 4 fresh tires. Parker Kligerman, our leader, Joey Coulter, who Kevin Harvick just passed, have not been to pit road yet.
Kevin Harvick dominant in practice.
How about they wake you up on Sunday morning and say, we're going to have you have 4 fresh tires. Everybody ahead of you don't. How about you just go get them, Kevin? Kevin had a great day as a car owner yesterday. Pole, a 3rd place finish for Elliott Sadler out in Iowa in a great NASCAR race out in the Heartland. And now here he is racing toward the lead in Pocono.
How about that finish last night in Iowa?
I loved it. It had it all.
On lap 24, again, the halfway point is hopefully not as important today as it was yesterday. Halfway point would mean an official race as the race for the lead starts. Harvick to the inside of the 29 of Parker Kligerman.
I think Kevin wants to be leading this race at halfway. He knows he has a little cushion over Kyle Busch right now. He wants to make hay while he can.
And he is able to take over that top spot as they work through the tunnel turn and head into turn number 3.
Look at that truck of James Buescher. He gets a great run off the tunnel turn down toward turn 3, and he's up beside Joey Coulter.
He'll take third away from Coulter running way down at the bottom of the racetrack.
Hard to complete a pass down there, Rick. Can Buescher do it?
Didn't look like he made it that time. And Coulter did let him in. He did back off and let him in.
On lap 25, we're a lap away from halfway. See Mark Martin moving up to the inside.
That blue truck on the inside making it 3 wide.
Look how far he's made it up already, Phil. We know he's got more gas than anyone, so they used the strategy, but Mark got a great start that time. The first great start he's gotten since he's been in Pocono, and he's making it pay right now. Up inside the top 10 already, looking for more.
Nelson Piquet Jr., who he just passed, pulls out a line. Mark is hung in behind Cole Whitt. Now Mark drives to the inside.
Here comes Kyle Busch on the outside in the tunnel. That is not for the faint of heart. You don't want to go out there unless you're pretty confident in your truck and of course who you are.
There was a time when nobody ever went too wide through the tunnel.
Johnny Sauter was confident in his truck, and he was really the only truck on the racetrack in qualifying. We see the halfway sign being shown by Kim Lopez, the flag stand.
That's Kyle Busch now pulling up side by side with Mark Martin in a battle for about 8.
Second being taken over by the 31 of James Buescher. Parker Kligerman dropping back now as Joey Coulter taking over the 3rd spot from Kligerman.
We know those two trucks, the 22 and 29, will have to come to pit road for sure. We're not sure about everybody else.
Right on the edge of pit window is when everyone has been able to come onto pit road and fuel up, with the exception of Parker Kligerman and Joey Coulter. They still have not been on pit road. Rain came, shortened the race yesterday. We're going to get it in today. Wednesday night, the car show with Adam Carolla is all new. Adam puts the world's fastest SUVs through the ringer, and John Sally sees if he could hack it on an Indy 500 pit crew. Don't miss the car show Wednesday night, 10 Eastern, only on Speed.
Came back for commercial. We saw a side-by-side battle between this Red Bull truck here of Cole Whitt and Ryan Sieg. And Ty Bodine said, I'm just going to take that opportunity. You guys are punching such a big hole. I'll just make it 3 wide and drive by you before we get to the tunnel.
Kevin Harvick out in front of this field, but there could be some concerns, Ray.
Well, Rick, his biggest concern is about Kyle Busch and Mark Martin and the fact that they have come to pit road to get fuel and that the 2 truck did not. If you notice his pace, his last lap was a 57.66, a couple of seconds slower than they know they can run, so he is trying to conserve a little bit, but they still believe they're going to have to come to pit road in order to make the distance, and he thinks that may be a decision that could haunt them later in today's race. Hermie?
Well, Ray, he also needs to be worried about James Buescher in that 31 truck right behind Kevin Harvick. These guys say while they are conserving fuel a little bit and running just fast enough to keep up with the 2, they say they can go all the way, and they plan to go all the way without pitting again. So we'll see if that strategy plays out. But right now, the 31 thinks they're in pretty good shape.
Both Chevrolets. Now, Kevin Harvick has a Chevrolet. James Buescher, but different engine builders.
Looks like a flat. Is that a flat tire on Nelson Piquet Jr.?
has problems in the 8, slows.
Or did he just get out of the groove there?
He got out of the groove because it looks like the splitter is level across the racetrack.
Yeah, it looks like right front's down.
The right front looked like at least the lettering was rubbed off.
I thought it looked like he had gotten into somebody with that tire and maybe caused a cut in it.
A long way to go, too, to run around there on that flat tire. Full 2.5 miles for Nelson Piquet Jr.
See Matt Craft and his teammate Johnny Sauter. They're making their way toward the top 10, Phil.
Yeah, just outside the top 10 now. Good comeback by Johnny Sauter, Joe Shear's bunch.
Both these guys pitted under after we went back to caution today, so we feel like they have enough gas to get to the end.
Part of the tire comes off of the 8 of Nelson Piquet Jr., so there is debris on the racetrack. Will that bring out a caution?
It will bring out a caution. That'll be good news for everybody. Caution's out now.
For debris.
The guys that have to pit, this is their opportunity. The guys that were going to try to stretch it, this is going to save them a little bit of fuel.
Be some insurance for those guys.
We knew 2.5 miles was an awfully long trip around this racetrack with that flat tire, and that's the result of it right there.
So we don't all pit, right? If we think we got enough gas to get to the end, let's get us some track position, get up front.
A little more insurance there. We know Parker Kligerman has to come to pit road, as well as Joey Coulter. They haven't pitted yet.
There's There's the damage to the right front of the 8 of Nelson Piquet Jr. Right.
And, you know, concern down here in the garage, guys, is we've seen a couple of tire issues and, you know, everybody talking about what to do here. Obviously, it's a right front that is down. They'll go to right sides there on Nelson Piquet's truck. And he said it felt good going through the corners and then all of a sudden just let go. So he didn't think that he ran over anything. So a number of crew chiefs wondering if we're going to have a real green racetrack and tire issue. But that leads me back to our leader, Kevin Harvick. What would you guys do if you're calling the shots for him? Bruce Cook has said, we think we're good on gas now, so we're going to stay out.
Well, we know we're going to have 2 or 3 laps under caution here, and that's going to buy us another 2 or 3 laps. I think for Kevin Harvick right now, obviously not racing for driver points, certainly racing for owner points. He's here to win this race.
Yeah, and you know, but I tell you how I would win the race if I was Harvick, I believe, Phil. I'd come get me some gas. You get a green-white checkered, run out near the end. He's got the fastest truck. He puts gas in that thing, and he can really throw the whip to it. I believe he could drive back up through here. Plus, it'll make for great TV.
You think this is the last caution?
Well, I mean, I think this is the last time you might want to pit, Rick. I think anything after this, it'd be too late.
But the caution would give him maybe a lap or 2 cushion if he thinks he's close.
Oh, yeah, every lap we run on a caution, and Kevin is staying on the racetrack.
Harvick stays out. You see the guys that hadn't pitted.
Mark Kyle Busch coming back in as well.
A lot of the guys in the back of this field have decided to make sure there isn't any question.
And if Kevin Harvick comes to pit road, he's going to wind up in the top 5 even after pitting. Ray, what are they saying?
Well, yeah, interesting down here for Kyle Busch. They said, look, we're not going to let this be a tire issue in case we've got another problem. So they want to put fresh tires on that race truck. We also see Cole Witt coming in right in front of him. The 29 has come down. 29 was very tight in the corner, so he said he wanted to make a big chassis adjustment. Kyle Busch will be first off pit road. What happened on your end, Hermie?
A lot of activity down here, Ray. The 3 of Austin Dillon, the 32 of Mark Martin, and the 22 of Joey Coulter all came in for tires and Sunoco fuel. Not a lot of chassis adjustments made, Ray, because these drivers were not really running as hard as they will now that they've got a full tank of fuel.
Little issue on pit road between Parker Kligerman and Joey Coulter. Take a look at this. Coulter in front of that 29.
I think Kligerman's saying, I got a little bit more pit road speed than you do, Joey. How about speeding it up a little bit?
Joey's going to pull over to pull into his pit. Parker was right there, nudged him a little bit.
Aaron's lucky dog goes to Justin Lofton in that number 6, so he'll get a lap back as we'll get ready for the restart when we come back. Field all in line as we get ready to restart the Good Sam RV Emergency Road Service 125 here on Speed, your motorsports authority. Kevin Harvick stays out, as does James Buescher. So we'll find out, do they have enough fuel? Green flag back in the air.
Top 6 trucks stayed on the racetrack. Look at Hornaday, peek to the inside.
Hornaday trying to take second away from James Buescher as he looks to the inside. They're 3 wide as they get ready to go into turn 1.
Mark Martin again up to speed on that restart. Could bode well for him.
Todd Bodine running second.
He got that transmission figured out, didn't he?
Yeah. Remember, these teams were not allowed to work on these trucks in the 20 hours in between when we last stopped racing till this morning.
Ray, what's happening with the 2 truck?
Well, he just came on the radio and asked his crew chief, Bruce Cook, what do you think? What should we do here? Full throttle? And Bruce said, absolutely. The 18 has tires. We need to run as hard as we can. He said the only thing that could kill us is a green-white checkered, but I'd say give it all you got. And Harvick made a great run into turn 1.
And Ray, we had 2 green-white checkers here last year in this race, ran 5 extra laps.
Sauter on the move. Take a look at the 13 moving up now.
He's all the way up to the 3rd spot, Rick. Pushing on Ron Hornaday.
Again, in qualifying yesterday, slammed into the turn 2 wall. Brought a backup out. They've made a lot of adjustments to that truck.
Todd Bodine way high down in turn 1.
Here comes Kyle Busch. Just got by Todd Bodine.
Todd's strategy is not working. He's not pitted since yesterday, but he's fallen back now. He needs a caution now, Michael, to make something happen.
Any different strategy on that 2 now, Ray?
Rick, I just thought he blew up. Kevin Harvick came down the front straightaway and his engine was not running. I said, what happened? I looked over and Bruce just smiled. Harvick is shutting the truck off at the end of the front straightaway to try to save that little extra gas.
Oh, about that. I like that strategy. And especially like it.
Oh, and a big one behind him. The 62 of Brendan Gaughan, the 81 of
David Starr, and the 66 goes around as well. That's Peyton Sellers.
He's going to shut it off for sure now, Coach. So yeah. I'd say this will probably take any question out of that team's mind that he can make it. But what a great job by David Starr. He got sideways, barely clipped the outside wall. Brendan Gaughan all the way around.
Look at it. It's not bad. Maybe rubbing a tire. Need to come look at it. Just get caught up. Nothing rubbing right now. 4 straight
top 10 finishes for that team. For David Starr.
3rd place last time out at Lucas Oil Raceway.
See if we can see what happened to Brendan. He got turned by David.
Yeah, David just run up there and hit him in the left rear quarter panel. See if Brendan does make contact with the outside wall as well as the 81. Peyton Sellers, what a weekend it's been for that 66 truck.
You had to figure.
Not sure why David was up that high to get into Brendan like that.
They were both hunting for that new asphalt up high, Phil, I believe. But
pretty significant damage to that South Point Toyota for Brendan. Looked like David just never turned, and then eventually he locked up the front brakes.
And that's a lot of damage to that 62 South Point truck. See the right rear all jacked up.
Things happen fast at Pocono, especially in turn 3. The 81 of Starr gets into the 62, brings out a caution once again. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series tackles the Pocono Raceway for only the 2nd time as the points race is starting to heat up as the season hits the home stretch. Visit speed.com for the news, photos, videos, and commentary about NASCAR's tough truckers. Overcast day in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. Again, this is a restart. We got 17 laps in yesterday, and we have completed up to 38 laps. Take a look at qualifying from yesterday. That's Johnny coming through turn 2.
Yeah, trying to run that corner wide open. Didn't quite make it.
He made most of the corner wide open.
Most of it. Until the
straightaway part got him.
It was that very end.
Had to get the backup truck out. They were just about ready with that backup truck, and they put another engine in it.
Yesterday, once the green flag came out,
he was making moves and coming to the front, Rick, but the front end was too low. It was bottoming out. The team made some adjustments to the front of this truck, and this is big stuff, Phil. When you talk about championship implications, he had a truck that was bottoming out. He didn't think he could get to the front with it. They came in, worked on it, raised the front, changed the camber in the right front tire because of the fact of some wear they saw. And look, he's running 3rd.
How about that?
How about Jay White? 2 down, almost crashed his truck yesterday. Just got an Aaron's lucky dog back. Now he's only 1 down. He gets that one back, and we got ourselves a situation where we can get a good finish with Jason White.
You call that almost crashing his truck?
Well, I almost crashed it really bad.
Okay. Crashed it really hard, but he's the only truck right now being shown 1 lap down. So if the caution were to come out again, he would be the recipient once again and be on the lead lap.
And that's not the Jason we know. That look on his face right there.
That stern look.
That was after that restart. That face right there.
Randy Kaiser pulls the pace truck back onto pit road. Kevin Harvick leads the field back to the green flag.
These guys able to save a little fuel during this caution break here. They have gotten everybody in their window, even the ones that were concerned, like Kevin Harvick. How about Mark Martin? Ducks to the inside. Here comes Matt Crafton making it 3 wide.
3 wide into turn number 1. Max Pappas on the outside of that 3 wide, and the number 9 battle for 2nd as they go out to Long Pond straightaway.
Here comes Kyle Busch, pulls to the inside of Hornaday.
Kyle Busch.
You remember Kyle's got fresher tires than Kevin now. He put right sides on during the caution before last, and he's making those tires pay off driving through the field.
Up to the 3rd spot now, falls in behind James Buescher. Hornaday back to 4th.
Johnny Sauter 5th. You see looking to the inside of Hornaday there in the final turn 3. Mark Martin goes down there with Johnny.
Tom Bodine, the 5 truck on the outside.
This wasn't a long race to start with. Obviously, we've made it longer than it is, but we're coming up on 10 laps of racing to go now for Kevin Harvick.
What do you think Delana fed Kevin for breakfast? He's been on a mission, hasn't he?
Sure has.
Coming up at the top of the hour, NASCAR Race Day built by the Home Depot, getting you ready for today's Cup race from right here in Pocono.
Joey Coulter pulled by Max Crafton on the inside. It's a battle for about the 10th position.
A big run by Cole Witt. Tucked in behind that 4 of Ricky Carmichael.
These trucks are racing just outside the top 10, Rick.
Saw Matt Crafton make some moves and move up well into the top 10. Now he's fallen back several positions.
Look at the run Cole Witt gets off the tunnel. He's able to pull right up on the back of Carmichael and now to the outside.
Carmichael looking to the inside, trying to get by Joey Coulter as he runs that low line through the long sweeping turn number 3.
Over Kligerman trying to clear Max Pappas. Now Mark Martin pulls to the inside of Todd Bodine. That's a battle for the 6th spot.
James Busher 2 seconds behind Kevin Harvick, but right behind James Busher is Kyle Busch. 3 and 4 wide as they go to turn number 1.
Joey Coulter makes a nice move in that RCR Chevrolet. Ooh, Bob Kligerman really loose. He may have had some contact from Cole Witt, and now they're 4 wide.
What about our Austin Dillon? He's been leading races and dominating running up front. Not this week, though. He's back in the 16th spot that time, Bob.
Here comes Crafton looking to the inside of the 4 of Ricky Carmichael now.
But what a mess that is, huh?
Austin side by side with last week's winner, Timothy Peters. We have a truck stalled. The 66 truck of Peyton Sellers is stalled on the access road.
That'll bring out the caution with less than 10 to go. So things are going to pick up around here.
The 6th caution has come out. Peyton Sellers, well, I would call it a nightmare weekend, continues. Peyton Sellers' hauler hit the flag stand when the trucks were being parked. His truck caught on fire, burned everything up completely inside of it. They rebuilt it. He's back on the track, but not moving any longer. We'll be back with more from Pocono. Stay with us here on Speed. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series on Speed is brought to you by Camping World and the Good Sam RV Club. Everything you need for the RV lifestyle, including RVs, accessories, warranties, insurance, roadside assistance, and more. By the Android-powered Casio G1 Commando, water-resistant, shock-resistant, life-resistant. And by Just for Men Hair Color. Stay in the game. A few trucks made their way onto pit road under this most recent caution. Now the field lined up 2 by 2 once again. There's Parker Kligerman.
66 is still going. Little train that could, Rick.
Oh my goodness, the woes for Peyton Sellers.
Wouldn't you park that thing now after the weekend they've had? I don't know that you could have a worse weekend than that 66 team.
It started before they even got the thing off the truck.
It's going to be an accomplishment if they can finish.
It started with the truck, actually.
And not that one. Not that truck.
The hauler actually coming in on Thursday hit the flag stand. Yes, and so it tore the flag stand down. That was the permanent flag stand here at Pocono, so they had to put a temporary flag stand in.
And that's Thursday.
That was Thursday.
This is Friday.
Friday.
Blows an engine.
Engine blows and catches on fire.
Burns all the wiring and all the hoses out from under that truck. And then yesterday, he had a problem qualifying. The truck was missing, and this happens today. He was involved in an incident with Brendan Gaughan and David Starr.
Are we done yet?
No. Oh, no.
What's our latest caution
he
for?
He stalled on the access
road, the 66 truck.
And now they've got him back on pit road. So Peyton Sellers, just a miserable weekend for that whole team. And Mikey, I think you said you didn't want to fly home with him.
No.
Bad luck on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Or tomorrow. You don't want to fly home tomorrow with him. I mean, maybe today they've got the bad luck out of the way.
Yeah, I hope they've got it all cleaned up so that that team can go from here and have nothing but good luck.
Jay White got the lucky dog now back on the lead lap after all his trials and tribulations.
23 of Jason White, the Aaron's lucky dog recipient.
Jason knows about Aaron's. We shot there. Look at him go.
And to catch up to the field, he was able to make the pit stop on this caution flag.
Now he's going to find out what kind of truck he's got, Phil. You know, he's been wanting to race. Now he's on even terms with everybody. He can go get with it, see if he can drive up to the top 10.
He's trying to catch everyone right now.
A lot of trucks still on the lead lap here. 24 trucks still on the lead lap here. We will restart with 5 laps to go.
This is intense. It happened in a hurry.
Yes, it did.
That escalated quickly.
This escalated quickly.
I don't think anybody has to save fuel now unless we get a green-white checker because they've had enough caution laps. I think everyone should be comfortable with their fuel.
We heard some chatter on the radio from Kyle Busch to his crew that he thought he had the truck to win this race with. He was going to get with it on these last 5 laps. This will be fun to watch.
He's in a great position, too, because those guys go side by side. He's going to get a pull
Green flag, green flag.
Good start by Busher,
Goes
too.
back in the air. Kevin Harvick, James Busher, 1 and 2. Busher gets a little better restart this time. Moving up on the inside of Kevin Harvick now for the lead.
There goes
Here comes Busch, making it 3 wide as they go to turn number 1. And he's challenging for the lead.
Well, Kevin Harvick drove it down to that corner, didn't he?
Kevin Harvick coming out on the Long Pond straightaway. The battle for second behind him. Kyle Busch on the inside of James Busher.
That may be just the cushion that Kevin Harvick needs for those two trucks to run side by side here. Johnny Sauter pulls down behind Kyle Busch. Kyle clears him. He has nothing but Kevin Harvick now in front of him.
And he's got 2 fresher right side tires, too.
Kevin Harvick working his way through turn 3. Kyle Busch chasing.
Look at Austin Dillon trying to battle up through this top 10. He's been back as far as 16th with just a couple laps ago. Now he's raced his way into the top 10. He's looking for more.
They're showing the black flag to the 4 of Ricky Carmichael. He changed lanes before he got to the start-finish line, so he will have to serve that penalty.
We saw that happen. We saw that happen to Johnny Sauter.
Keep coming.
Took a win away from him just a few weeks ago at Texas.
Now Johnny can explain that rule to him after the race if he has any questions.
Carmichael just asked his crew chief, what do I have to do? He said, you're going to have to come onto pit road. Side by side, Cole Witt on the outside, Matt Crafton on the inside. Those two racing for position.
Remember, Matt came down pit road on this most recent caution flag.
That was side by side through the tunnel, Phil. Cole Witt just drove her in there like Matt wasn't even down there.
Cole doesn't know that you're not supposed to run side by side through there.
Crafton trying to get back up into the top 10. Those two racing for the 12th spot now.
Crafton finishes the deal, though. Goes after Max Pappas. Strong run for Max. He's up inside the top 10, but Max wanting to take it away.
Mark Martin able to get by Ron Hornaday. Now Ron's going to fight back on the inside.
1.6 seconds separate 1 and 2.
Hornaday.
Way up the racetrack goes Hornaday. He catches it just before clipping the 32 of Mark Martin.
The only reason why there wasn't a wreck right there is because of Mark Martin's brains. He could feel that something wasn't right up under him. He went way up the hill to give Ron plenty of room to gather that thing up. A younger, less experienced driver goes ahead and makes his normal turn. They hit. There's a crash.
Yeah, Mark could feel it and hear it, and he gave him plenty of room.
Keep working on him, bud. Keep working on him.
Austin Dillon just behind the 5 of Todd Bodine. Clouds getting a little darker here. This one obviously close enough to the finish. Don't think rain will cause any problems for this one.
Look at Hornaday wiggling there on the outside. Todd getting pretty good grip from the bottom. Now he loses that grip and has to pull up. Oh,
contact! Todd Bodine slides coming out of turn number 3.
The caution is coming out.
Lock it down, lock it down.
With Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch side by side.
Kyle Busch is pretty good on restarts.
I got all flat tires.
Kevin Harvick's pretty good too. This truck's pretty good here today. What a great finish we have looming here.
And yeah, but Phil, we talked about the green-white checker. Kevin saved enough gas to get to the checker, but does he have enough to get to a green-white checkered? And we know Kyle Busch does. He pitted. He got tires. The plot thickens.
Talk about plots. Let's look here at this issue. Remember a week ago at Lucas Oil Raceway, Austin Dillon, it doesn't look like was the one who made the contact there. It looked like it was Hornaday.
It looked like to me Austin got in the back of him. I think Todd was trying to come up in front of Austin, and he just said, you ain't coming up in here.
And when we were watching it live, I definitely felt like that Austin got in the back. Let's take a look here. Watch,
right,
Todd's going to try to clear Hornaday. It's not going to make it. Then he's going to try to get in between, I think, the 3 and the 33.
Yes, he did. And Austin said, no way, you're getting that hole this late in the race.
Cole Witt, watch this.
He sees it happening. He backs off. He's wondering which way Todd's going to go. If Todd was going to go to the outside, then he had to make moves to the inside. Did a nice job avoiding that.
You ever heard someone think? You just heard Cole Witt thinking with that gas pedal. He's like, oh, what do you do here?
So we will have a green-white checker finish.
We're going way into overtime, Rick.
We are going into overtime.
Yeah, they did not get one to go that time.
We're talking 52, 53 laps. That's another 7.5 miles that Kevin Harvick didn't want to have to make. Watch this move Mark Martin makes. I love this stuff. I love this man, too, the way he drives, how smart he is, how fast he is. Watch, he knows right here that Ron's heading in a bad direction. Look where Mark's going.
Way up the track.
I'm going up, I'm going up. Get her saved, get her saved.
If he doesn't move up there, that's a wreck. That is a wreck right there. Both of those trucks into the outside wall and may have taken some more with him.
Look at Mark. He just sensed it. He went to the right.
He felt it. He sensed it. He knew that Hornaday was coming up towards him. I said, I have to give him more room.
Veteran move. Ray Dunlap, it looks like you might have caught up with maybe a nervous crew chief.
Yeah, just a little bit. And Bruce Cook and I had this conversation before this race began about green, white, checkered. And you've been talking to your driver. What do you think the situation is on fuel? Can you guys make it?
We could make it a lap 50. Now it's going to be close. It's going to be green, white, checkered now. So he's conserved the whole time we've been out there, and I think he's done a really good job of conserving a lot for me. We're just going to find out right now how much.
It looks like the truck is obviously just right.
Yeah, he's really happy with the truck. Tweaked on it just a little bit as the race went on, but he's been really happy with it.
Okay, truck's good. Don't know about the fuel.
I think Kevin Harvick is going to choose the outside, Michael, because he knows he can drive the truck in there a little bit harder. We saw him have to do that on that last restart. He drove it down in there real hard, and it stuck up there.
They're going to tell him 1 to go. Next time by will be the green flag, but that means another 2.5 miles under caution. So Kevin Harvick will be thinking about conserving fuel this last caution lap before the green flag.
That was lap 50. That's when they knew they had enough gas to get to, even with him saving a little. This is all bonus gas right here that Kevin Harvick has to have.
Kevin Harvick, James Buescher both came in on lap 17. Johnny Sauter came in on lap 19. Ron Hornaday came in on lap 17 as well. So those are guys that right now have got to start thinking, okay, fuel might run out for the drivers that stopped on 17.
They started thinking that a long time ago, Rick. They knew that if a green, white checker occurred, it was going to be really, really tight.
I want to take a look at our Just for Men Stay in the Game. All the drivers. I'll tell you, yesterday when the rain started coming, what a difficult situation for a driver. You get almost halfway.
And all the teams as well, too. I mean, obviously, you know, so much going on. The fans came back today, and 20 hours later, some 20 hours later.
Look at the weather conditions, and these race car drivers, Phil, you know what it's like. They had to go to bed last night thinking about those first 17 laps, what they had in their truck. How are they going to get to the checker flag? How are they going to win this race?
Just for Men hair color, stay in the game. We'll see who has stayed in the game the best. Right now, Kevin Harvick hoping he has enough fuel to go 2 more laps here at Pocono.
Hey, remember now, this is potentially just our first attempt at a green, white checker. We had 2 last year.
Ooh, Kyle Busch will be on the inside. Kyle Busch, not a problem for fuel. He stopped on lap 32.
I bet you Delana Harvick's in her butt saying, "Shut up, Phil." Or she's down on the bottom. Say, man, you can't say that. There can't be no more than one green, white checker, can there?
Lined up 2 by 2. Harvick on the outside. Kyle Busch on the inside. Green flag back in the air.
Green flag.
Great start by Kyle Busch.
Look at Johnny Sauter coming up on the back of Kevin Harvick, trying to give him a push down into turn 1 and grab that second spot from Kyle.
Up to speed, entering turn number 1. 3 wide behind him. Crafton moving up through the field in the 88. Tries to get by the 33 of Hornaday.
Remember, Matt Crafton can't put tires on. Caution before this last one.
Look at that truck, that 3 truck of Austin Dillon.
How about the gap already? Harvick is put between he and Kyle Busch. Going into turn number 2, the tunnel turn. Harvick has a big lead. 3 trucks between he and second place, Kyle Busch.
See if these trucks can make it through the tunnel here. They did it that time.
James Buescher hanging on to 3rd through turn number 3. Harvick will see the white flag when he comes out of 3. If he gets to the white flag, the next one he'll see will be the checker.
White flag here, white flag.
Crosses the stripe, 1 to go here at Pocono.
The next flag ends this race, whether it's the checker or the caution.
Kevin Harvick, after putting a dominant performance together during practice and qualifying, setting a new track record, has been able to work his way up to the front using strategy, staying up front. Does he have enough fuel to finish this one out? It's still a long ways around this track.
There's your championship battle, too. Austin Dillon has fought his way to the back bumper of Johnny Sauter. He's had a terrible day today running in the back, but what a rally at the end. He's going for that position over Sauter.
Through turn number 2. Now, the final turn, turn 3. It's still a long ways to the start-finish line.
Does Hartman have enough fuel?
A big lead coming out of turn number 3. Can he make it to the start-finish line? Does he have enough fuel? Yes, Kevin Harvick will win at Pocono.
Yeah, boys, that's Vance whipping right there. A great weekend, Harvick. Good job. Good job, boys. Awesome.
How about the job Johnny Sauter and his team did? Going to a backup truck, adjusting pretty significantly on it a couple different times, both yesterday and today.
You'll have to circle this one on your calendar when you look back at this championship, just like Ray Dunlap reported from pit road. Great team effort by that whole Thor Sports group.
We'll hear from Kevin Harvick when we come back at the top of the hour. It's NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, getting you ready for the Cup race later today here in Pocono. Who would have thought a 50-lap race could be a 2-day affair? Well, Mother Nature made it that way. Kevin Harvick able to capture his 10th career win. And Kevin Harvick incorporated now 36 career wins. That ties Ultra Motorsports for second all-time in the Camping World Truck Series.
What an incredible job. How about James Buescher, Michael? 10 top 10s in a row for him and his team.
Those are your Camping World unofficial results. Now let's go to victory lane and Ray Dunlap.
The Ollie's Bargain Outlet Chevrolet was dominant this weekend. Kevin came on the radio and said, guys, guess what? We're going to clean this truck up and take her to Michigan. What a great race today. Was there ever any concern that you were going to make it to the end?
You know, the truck was so fast. And first off, I just want to thank all these guys at KHI and everybody's from Ollie's Bargain Outlet and Chevrolet, Hunt Brothers Pizza, Ream, who am I forgetting here? One Main Financial, Bad Boy Buggies, Budweiser, Jegs, everybody champion who makes this possible. But the truck was so fast that I was able to get out there and really conserve fuel and do what I had to do to manage the 3 or 4 laps that we needed. And then we wound up getting all those caution laps, so it didn't really matter. So it was a great day for everyone on the 2 truck.
Clint Boyer gets a win. Also Ron Hornaday, now Kevin Harvick, the 3rd different winner to win for KHI in 2011.
Kevin Harvick stays perfect here in Pocono. Want to take a look at our Ford point standings. Well, 1 point has been increased by Johnny Sauter over Austin Dillon. They came in with a 4-point differential.
But, man, both those teams overachieved today, Phil. Austin didn't have the truck he needed. It didn't look like early, but he drove to the front. Johnny Sauter, they worked on that truck all day long and got a great finish.
And James Buescher ends up only 18 points behind. He's the guy that gained on those front 2.
Still 1 race separating the top 6. Kevin Harvick, the dominant truck all weekend. He's in victory lane. Now we go to race day here on Speed.